a 14-year-old girl came to you and told you that she was haunted by a ghost of a woman, would you believe her? What if she had all these details of a gruesome murder that supposedly took place and she told you that she was part of it? Do you think it was just a teenager simply recounting a nightmare, or was it actually real? In May of 1999, a 14-year-old girl made her way to a Hong Kong police station. She told officers that for the past several weeks, she had been constantly plagued by the ghost of a woman who had been bound by electric wires and tortured to death. Initially, the police brushed her off because at that time it just seemed more logical for the girl to be either mentally ill or just pulling a prank as a teenager. The little girl was also known to be friends with trade members, one of whom was a boyfriend. The child then explained that the ghost of a woman was someone that she was involved in killing. This piqued police interest, and to rule out her story, several officers were dispatched to the third-floor flat in the city's rundown Kowloon district to check the alleged crime scene. Upon entering the flat, they were hit by a distinct stench of rotting flesh. Inside the flat, they found an oversized Hello Kitty doll with the decapitated skull of a woman inside it. This case became known as the Hello Kitty murder and was regarded throughout Hong Kong as the most gruesome crime in history. The victim was later found to be 23-year-old Man Yee. Her life was said to be tragic even before she was decapitated and her head stuffed inside a doll. She was abandoned by her family as a child and was raised in a girls' home. By the time she became a teenager, she had a drug addiction and was turning to prostitution to pay for her habit. When she was 23, she became a hostess at a nightclub and used all the money that she earned to battle her drug addiction. In 1996, she got married and gave birth to a son, but the marriage soured when her drug-addicted husband began to abuse her. In early 1997, Man Yee met Man Lok, a 34-year-old socialite. The two met in a nightclub and discovered that they both had something in common. Man Yee was a prostitute and a drug addict, while Man Lok was a pimp and a drug dealer. Soon, Man Yee became a regular addition to Man Lok's friend group. A few months later, in the late 1997s, Man Lok became desperate for money and drugs, and so she decided to steal Man Lok's wallet, attempting to make off with $4,000 inside the wallet. However, this soon proved to be a grave mistake. When Man Lok found out that the money was missing, he demanded compensation from Man Yee. Because Man Yee feared for her life, she returned the money with an additional Hong Kong $10,000 as interest. But Man Lok was still not satisfied and he demanded an extra Hong Kong $16,000, which she was unable to pay. He then enlisted two of his henchmen, Leung Sheng Cho and Leung Wai Lun, to kidnap Man Yee. He intended to force her into prostitution for himself and take the money she earned as a payback for the cash she had stolen from him. The group later decided that prostituting Man Yee was simply not satisfying or not enough, so they began torturing her. They would first seal the glass window of the unit with wooden planks so that nobody could see the insides of the flat. For over a month, they hung Man Yee from the ceiling with electric wires and would hit her with metal pipes and wooden blocks until her bones broke and her head was covered in blood. They subjected her to various horrors such as pouring chili oil onto her burns and eyes, raping her, forcing her to eat human feces and drink urine. But wait, do you guys remember the 14-year-old girl I mentioned from the start? You might think that this torture was horrifying enough, but do you know what's more insane? The 14-year-old girl was actually part of this torture. So let me just recap a little. So let's just call this girl A, because her name wasn't explicitly mentioned, I think because she was probably underage at the time. A was the girlfriend of Man Lok's. Though girlfriend was probably a loose term, this girl was said to be another one of his prostitutes. At one point, when A was visiting a group in Man Lok's apartment, she witnessed Man Lok hit Man Yee 50 times in the head, and that was when she decided to join in the torture. The details of the extent of the torture that A inflicted on Man Yee were not released at court because this was part of her plea deal, but we can all assume that she was pretty involved in the torture. A was also offered protection to testify against the trio. So when the investigators asked about why she did what she did, she said that I had a feeling that it was for fun. She also claimed to be haunted by Man Yee's restless spirit and believed that the only way for her to free herself from the ghost was to confess. So it was estimated that Man Yee died in mid-April 1999. When she died, her face was swollen, gums were bleeding, and her body was covered with blisters, wounds, and pus. After discovering her dead body, the group moved Man Yee's body to the apartment's bathtub to let her bleed out and dismembered her with a saw. Using boiling water on the same stove where they usually cook dinner, the killers boiled pieces of her body to stop her from decomposing and emitting the smell of rotting flesh. They then disposed the body parts in multiple plastic bags and just dumped it at the garbage station. They sewed her skull into an oversized Hello Kitty mermaid doll. While they were pulling out the semi-dissolved hair, Manlok actually said, "Oh please, don't be so depressed. I will help you look good. Don't move. I'll help you dress up." Additionally, they kept one of Man Yee's teeth and several internal organs which they stored in plastic bags and had allegedly fed her cooked meat to the dogs. The apartment in which Man Yee had been tortured was full of Hello Kitty stuff, from the sheets to the curtains to the towels to the silverware. This case was so disturbing that when the case was first known to public, many people find it unreal, like they couldn't believe this whole thing actually happened. Throughout the trial, the trio denied killing her. They turned on to each other, each trying to suggest that they had the least to do with Man Yee's death while blaming one another. But because there were no body to determine how Man Yee had died, the jury could not find the three guilty of murder, but instead convicted them of manslaughter. They were sentenced to life in prison with a possibility of parole in 2020. Following the incident, many unusual supernatural incidents occurred. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit about this supernatural stuff that people had experienced, whether they know about the case or they do not. The forensic in charge of the case revealed that when the court presented evidence, including the skull of the victim, Hello Kitty doll, clay pot where they cooked Man Yee's body parts, etc., there was corpse smell everywhere, no matter where the evidence was submitted. Another time at trial, when the defense lawyer said that the defendants only handled the body illegally, saying that there was no need for them to talk about it, the lights in the courtroom flashed a lot, leaving the people in the room stunned. One of the defendants, Long Shin Cho, once told the detention center guard that all the women he saw in the courtroom were looking like Fan Man. Oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps, guys. I hate this kind of supernatural shit. So in the same building where the murder occurred, a woman who wasn't aware of the murder in the building rented a flat on the 4th floor with one of her friends. They would often hear a woman crying at night from a flat that wasn't occupied. They also experienced ghostly touch while sleeping. Before them, the 4th floor guests who had helped the police to identify the victim encountered a female ghost while they were on the stairs of the building, scaring them to move to another place. Some readers also told the media that staff of the hair salon on the building's 1st and 2nd floors had found Hello Kitty dolls of unknown origin in the morning. When they reviewed the CCTV footage, there was a shadow behind the person in charge of the salon while he was walking. A renowned Hong Kong lady also said that during her pastime in the bar, she saw a woman's head staring at her in the unit opposite the building, and only later knew that it was the same unit where the Hello Kitty murder took place. Due to the widespread publicity of this case, no one in Hong Kong wanted to rent the apartment where the murder took place. The flat sat empty for years, and people decided that they didn't want to live in any of the other apartments in the building either. An investor eventually demolished the vacant building in 2012. So yeah, this is the end of the case. I'm just curious, do you guys believe in the supernatural? Because it's not often that we hear of restless spirits that come back to hunt the person that killed them, and that was how this case unraveled. Please let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching my video. See you in the next one. Bye!